Hello, 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 everyone. I am so excited to be here with you all on Be Your Best Version Bootcamp. Tonight is the last night of this boot camp, and we have some heavy hitters. I cannot wait to interview. I have known her for quite some time now, and she has made a huge impact on me. Just being able to see how she navigates, connects with other people, makes a great influence on, thrusting people to their next level through their relationships, giving them a great visual of what it looks like, to be in the healthy relationship, how to navigate that. So you're going to get some special insight tonight on how to be able to navigate through your relationships. And when it all gets messy, Judy is here. So I want to introduce Deidre. She is our co-host. So glad to have her here. She's bringing the fire every single night. Are you excited, Deidre?
I am so excited, Kalisha. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be co-hosting with you. Wow, what a couple of weeks we've had, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, after Judy Herman, which is our first speaker, speaks, we're going to also hear from Jawanda Rollin-Thales. She is so transformational. She actually, I don't want to give it all away, but she has a lot packed in there for you to be able to hear tonight. Take your pens, take your paper out, and get those notes going. Because if you want to go in a different direction, if you want to leave here with a mind, body, transformation all in one, a lifestyle change, then get that pen and paper out and get your phone out too. Record from all ends, right here and right here on your phone. Okay, so let's go. Let's give it up for Judy Herman.
Thank you so much, Kalisha.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you on tonight. And I want to be able to introduce you to everyone. So Judy Herman, everyone, she is an advocate for human resilience and growth. Judy Herman inspires executive women with resistant spouses to unlock the power of their authentic selves in order to live peaceful, purposeful, and positive lives without regret. We all want that, don't we? She provides keynote addresses, seminars, and workshops for companies who support women in leadership while honoring authentic work relationships and cultures. Her clinical and personal experiences enhance her work as an executive coach, providing skills and resources that change organizations and family trees. Judy K. Herman is a counselor, speaker, and author of Beyond Messy Relationships, Divine Invitations to Your Authentic Self. Everyone, Judy Herman. Thank you so much, Judy.
Thank you so much. All right. Even though we are meeting across the screen, I recognize that you are worthy of dignity, love, and respect. And we all know this in the deep places of our hearts, but some of us are not aware that our self-image attracts messy relationships. We're not aware that our self-image keeps us from being the best versions of ourselves, and that our self-image keeps us from living positive, peaceful, and purposeful lives. Instead, we're confused and we ask ourselves, is it me? Or we listen to speakers and people like Kalisha and Deidre, and we're not even aware of our thoughts that have taken us to say things like, yeah, they have what it takes, but I don't. And we don't even realize that our relationships are mirrors to our souls. Now, we're not aware that our self-image is not even accurate, and that our self-image is limiting us, and that our self-image draws us to people and relationships that become messes that we never asked for. Today, I'm going to share with you how to be the best version beyond messy relationships, and I'm going to show you how to live positive, peaceful, and purposeful without regret. I'm so committed to doing that on today's teaching. So let's get into it. We all need a breath of fresh air. So first of all, I want to thank Kalisha for inviting me to share with you. And Deidre and Kalisha, I listened to all the amazing speakers the last couple of weeks. I have learned so much, and I am honored to be among them. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time telling you about me right now because I want to get into the content, but I'll share a little more about my story as we go along. But just some quick background. I am the author of Beyond Messy Relationships. It's a top 10 finalist with Author Academy Awards. I'm very proud of that. And I want to tell you something. I'm also a psychotherapist, but most therapists who write books will write about the intense and dramatic stories of their clients. For me, I decided that I would write my intense and dramatic stories. So basically it is memoir, but it's more than that because I do show up as a therapist at the beginning of each of the chapters. And when you read my story, you're going to find yourself in it and you're going to get some insights that's grounded in therapy and lots of psychological insights and spiritual wisdom. Well, it's not a substitute for counseling, so don't mistake it for that. But if you are seeing a counselor and you want to buy a copy for you and your counselor to work through it, that would be great. I did have a reader that told me, Judy, I feel like I'm getting therapy from you and I'm not even paying you for it. So anyway, that's kind of what the book is about. But I'm also a coach for executive women with resistant husbands, and I've developed a remarkable proprietary methodology. It's a 12-week coaching program called Show Up and Be You, Stop Walking on Eggshells, and Live Your True Life. My goal today is to show you awareness technique that will ground you in truth about yourself, and an intentionality tool that can bust through some confusing emotions and situations, and then how risks of growth are your next step to living your best version beyond messy relationships. So I'm going to do what all the other speakers have done. I expect you all to be fully engaged and to take notes. This is likely one of the most valuable trainings that you ever have been on when it comes to being your best version beyond the messy relationships. And I also want to acknowledge you for trusting me with your time and attention. And if you stick with me to the end, I'm going to tell you how to get your hands on a practical gift that I'm going to give you, and stay with me to the end. I will tell you how to get that. You're going to get some clarity about your relationships and where you are. Do you identify with things I've identified with? There's highs and lows in your relationship. And sometimes you just feel confused and exhausted. There's times where it's great and times where it's like, the opposite. You're walking on eggshells, trying to please people. You're misunderstood and you feel judged, or you lay awake at night worrying about what people are going to think. Or you worry about, like, I don't like what I've become, and no matter what I do, it's not enough. And then you ask this dreaded question. Don't ever ask yourself this question, but most of us do. We ask ourselves, what's wrong with me? So you've been misled. And I'm going to give you a warning before you listen to any more. Before we even get started, I want to let you know I'm going against the grain of what's been said or is being said with those in my own profession. You see, the mental health industry and insurance companies, they are dependent on diagnostic codes and convincing you that there's something wrong with you. And I'm sharing with you today one of the most transformational techniques that's helped hundreds of my clients. It is so very simple, yet profound. And if you practice this on a daily basis, it will open up your journey to be your best self beyond the messy relationships. But first, here's 3 strategies. And I would like for you to write this down. Number 1, awareness. Write down awareness and circle the letter A. Thich Nhat Hanh says that awareness is like the sun, and when it shines on things, they are transformed. Awareness is actually like this lifelong journey. And according to neuroscience, before the age of 25, our brains are not even totally online yet. We're still under construction. I want to share a story with you about how I lacked awareness. There's a time that I experienced, it seemed like one crisis after another. Just the week before, I had written in my journal about how loved and partnered I felt in my marriage. My second husband had years of wellness from his bipolar disorder, but I was struggling at times with his irritability, and familiar stuff coming up just reminded me of that first marriage of 3 decades. And it was crucial that we have a good marriage. After all, I was this relationship therapist. We needed to be healthy. But I was getting more frustrated and hyper-focused on influencing my husband's moods. Then something really bad happened. I was in my office waiting to see my next client, but I was on edge. I was looking at my phone, and I see the hospital number show up on my phone. "This is Judy." It was Dr. Morgan. "Mrs. Herman, I'm sorry to say, your husband, this is going to be a hard case." What? I just thought, I tried to speak. I just let the doctor talk, but internally I was thinking, oh my gosh. I thought he would just go to the hospital a couple of days, change his medication, he would come back and he would be fine. But little did I realize that there was going to be an entire season ahead of me in which he was out of tune with reality. So I got off. I just barely could take it in, took notes as best I could, and I hung up because I had been waiting at the nurse's station, waiting for that call. My skin's all splotchy. I'm just trying to, I have a hard time even breathing. And the breathing techniques that I've told my clients about and shared with them about and done with them several times, they weren't working for me. Then I went to my desk drawer and I opened up the drawer and got my purse and tried putting my makeup on, my lipstick. And I had to show up like this professional counselor because I was meeting my client. So we all go there sometimes, right? We are faced with something that we know is not right. We need to take deep breaths of air. And we need to trust our gut. I needed a regular practice of awareness. There was something wrong. So awareness is first. Number 2, intentions. Write down the word intentions. And circle the letter I with intentions. Now, I'm going to tell you another quick story. This one was when I was a young mom struggling to raise 4 kids. I was walking around on eggshells around my first husband. And I didn't even know that I had a self-image back then. I didn't know that my relationship was a mirror to my soul. You see, we have what you call mirror neurons in our brains. And I didn't even know I was co-creating this mess. And those mirror neurons in our brain, what they do, they show us our blind spots. Like when somebody smiles at you and you smile back, right? This is reciprocal thing that goes on. And so I was in this marriage, and some of us, we're like flat mirrors, like we can see pretty accurately. We'll see the dignity and the value and the worthiness of another person, and we can reflect that to them. But other times they're either convex or concave mirrors. They, blow things out of proportion or minimize them. But there's some mirrors that you encounter at the amusement parks, the ones that make you look really distorted. Well, back then I was hanging out with people. They weren't flat mirrors. And my self-image was like the reflection of those mirrors in those amusement parks. All I knew, I was just So here's what was happening. I was raising those 4 kids, walking around on eggshells, and there was some stuff going on in that marriage. And I wasn't a therapist back then, okay? So I wasn't a therapist, but if I were, it's taboo, of course, to diagnose your family members, but I might be convinced that ex-husband had a good case of low-grade depression that lasted for years, that was never treated. In fact, it kind of became part of his character. But husband lost his job. He was out of work for months. I'd walk in the house after running around, taking the kids to wherever the ball games were. I had a part-time job just trying to make ends meet. And I walked in the house, and he was laying on the couch watching sports on TV. Ooh, that made me mad. Oh, we were doing that, what you call accusation defensiveness dance that we learned in childhood. You see, relationship patterns are like dances that we learn in childhood. And we're unaware that we're repeating those dances. But in childhood, we actually needed some of those dances. We moved toward pleasure away from pain. We learned how to relate. But those same dances that we needed in childhood, perhaps to even survive our childhood, we needed them. They're defenses, right? We inadvertently, we take that into our adult relationships. And those dances are actually, in adult relationships, don't work. In fact, they're so maladaptive. In fact, they're toxic. As you can imagine, I was in bad shape and desperate. And I couldn't take any more. And I'm afraid this is going to bust. Which I almost did. But it's situations like that that call us to think, to take time, to be aware. And I did that. And I realized my mom, I remember my mom as a young mom. And my dad died suddenly when I was 6 years old. She didn't have a chance to get her education. But I was aware enough that my marriage was dying a slow death. Many of us that are in our marriages, we're not living together. We're dying together. And this marriage had passed long past its expiration date. It was time that I became intentional about positioning myself for my family. After all, I was responsible for these 4 human beings. And that's when I started pursuing my master's degree to become a counselor. That's why I'm so passionate about taking deep breaths of air and being intentional. I'm telling you, if you're not intentional, nothing changes without intentionality. Intentions begin with a vision, and intentions are empowering. We can have our light bulb moments, but for positive change to happen, we have to be intentional. And to do that, we've got to make room in our schedules. We've got to make room to quiet our souls and to pray, to meditate and imagine and to plan. Number 3, write down risks of growth. Write the word risks and circle the letter R in risk. Now, we're not talking about foolish or crazy risks. We're talking about risks that are based upon awareness and intentionality. Now, look at what you just wrote. Y'all got it figured out because you're smart. Awareness, intentionality, risks. Look at those 3 letters. It spells air, doesn't it? Now I'm going to do what I do with my grandchildren when they come to visit, but I also do it with my clients. And what I'm going to invite you to do right now, and you can even close your eyes if you want to, keep your eyes open if you want. I'd like you to take a deep belly breath from the belly. You're going to breathe out. Hold it, and then slowly breathe out like you're breathing through a straw. Now I'm telling you, when you do that about 3 times, when you take about 90 seconds, deep breaths, what does that do? It slows down the nervous system. It grounds us in this present moment. It helps us to get aware this moment in time. It's a divine invitation. We need to be aware that our lives are valuable. We need to be aware of whether our self-image is accurate. And there's nothing wrong with you, but there's a lot wrong with systems around you. You see, we were born into imperfect family systems. We were born into imperfect cultural systems and religious and political systems. I'm going to give you an example. I grew up in a very conservative denomination, faith denomination with a lot of don'ts. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't play cards, don't engage in premarital dancing. Now our lives and our relationships are like dances. They are in constant motion. And our emotions and movement, our movement and motions are emotions that are designed to move and to flow. Okay. Our emotions are temporary messengers to our souls, and we need to honor them when they show up. So when anger comes and you're really mad, here's what you need to do. Okay, anger, come over here. Let me listen to what you have to say. And then after you listen to whatever the message is and make whatever adjustments you need to make, then, okay, thank you very much. Your job's done. I'll let you go. But here's the problem. We stuff our emotions rather than listening to them. But just imagine having guests in your home. I mean, holidays, we'll have special guests. We'll make a nice meal and put the table out and put our best china and napkins. Our guests are calm. We listen to them, right? We feed them. We honor them. And then they leave. That's the way our emotions are supposed to be, right? How do you let go of stagnant emotions? How do you become more aware? And how can you become intentional? And what are risks of growth? I'm so glad you asked. Risks are aligning with your true self. It's making the next right decisions on that pathway toward your authentic journey. And even when it's upsetting to other people, we don't know what the outcome is. And we're scared to death. And it's kind of like what Kalisha talks about with the terror barrier, right? That's what I'm talking about with risks of growth. We're scared to death. We feel like we're going to fall, but we do the next right thing. And in my favorite book, it says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and power and a sound mind. Even though I've helped other people be aware and intentional and take risks of growth, and even though I've helped couples create resilience in their marriages, my risks, I wrote my book not knowing whether my marriage was even viable. I wrote it, and it was something that I couldn't not write. It's like I could not live Groundhog Day over and over again, could not wake up the same way. And it was it was a transformational experience for me to write it. And at the time, my husband, I didn't know whether he would even be recovering. In fact, I thought writing this book would be very hard. Like it may put him into another episode. But he was my biggest cheerleader. There were seasons of wellness that he experienced. I don't know if I told you earlier, but he was an advocate for mental health. He was very well. But I wrote it and I was scared. What would people think? What if my clients read it and they say, and why are we seeing her as our therapist? But I believed my writing was what I needed to do. It was my next right step. Yes, it was a huge risk. And it did save my marriage. And it did help my husband even be well for a time. But my risk in 2020, during COVID, during a lot of other stressors, sudden deaths of a family member that was very close to my husband, there was another. And I had to face the reality that I couldn't help him. I needed to face reality that I can't do this anymore. I could not think his thoughts. I could not influence his moods. I could not change his beliefs. I could not do anything for him what only he could do for himself. By the way, a lot of us think that, don't we? I mean, we don't really think we're thinking that, but we really do, right? But I had to face my greatest fears of letting go. That's when I began to let go of those stagnant emotions. Sometimes those stagnant emotions have been around for years and we don't even know that they're there. And that's when I began to feel the rhythm of my life. I decided to let go of what doesn't belong to me. And that's when I looked up on my back porch and I said, Lord, here I am. Show me there's a bigger purpose. That's why I'm with you today. The cost of breathing toxic air is unbelievable. The emotional costs are unbelievable. It's not being present for your loved ones, and it's missing magic moments that you'll never get back, and it's a physical suffering, stress, and disease, and it's a wasting of one's precious life. So where are you? Learn to breathe fresh air. And now you have a choice. You can take everything I've taught you, forget about it, keep doing what you've always done and getting what you've always got. But let me ask you a question. This stuff's pretty enlightening, isn't it? So what I'd like to do for those of you who really want to solve this and get some support, some of you are ready to have a conversation where I can understand what your situation is. Plus, I promised you a free gift, right? Your free gift right now is to go to my website, judycounselor.com. It's right there on the screen, I think. And there's a relationship stress quiz that you can sign up for. Don't take the quiz now. You can take it later tonight, but sign up for it. So do that right now and open up another tab. But just go to judycounselor.com and then you'll see it on the front page. Now, for those of you that want to go deeper, there is a place in the middle of my website that just says Subi Coaching. Okay, Subi stands for Show Up and Be You. And you'll get more information in case you would like a consultation. But more than anything, take deep breaths of air often. You have what it takes. You have what it takes to be the best version beyond messy relationships, living positive, peaceful, and purposeful without regret. Thank you so much for joining me.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Judy. That was so impactful. I just feel like I have brisk new air in my lungs. I love how you said the emotional cost of breathing toxic air, because there really is an emotional cost. There's a cost for everything. And, I'd rather pay the cost of breathing fresh air, being able to do the work, like you're saying, be able to build awareness, because that's really what it is. I want to go over just a little bit of what I had jotted down. Many people in their marriage are not living together, but dying together. That's so profound. Just real quickly, I want to ask you, what was the most pivotal point in your relationship where that really resonated for you? That statement right there, if you're not living together, you're dying together.
Well, it depends on which marriage you're talking about. There was a point in time, and like I had referenced, I was sitting on the ball fields in reference to the first marriage, sitting on the ball fields, watching one of my kids play, and just being there and pondering and realizing I better do something different. That was a real turning point for me, and that was a risk to do that. When it came to my husband, my second husband, it was like I wanted to write anyway. I've been trying to write a book anyway, and I knew I couldn't not write this book. So it was the writing of the book that was the pivotal point for me. There was so much transformation that went into that. I'm a client in my own book.
Which is so profound, because that doesn't happen a lot, right? That doesn't happen too often, where you're even able to be that transparent and honest. And to everyone out there, this is who you're getting, right? Someone who's able to be transparent with you, very honest, bring you to the true light of where you are right now, helping you to build the awareness. Because if you're not aware, then there's really nothing that you can move forward with. But when you become aware, getting clarity is everything. Everything.
It really is. I want to share one other thing. I meant to say it, and maybe it was already implied, but so many people like are hearing these wonderful speakers the last couple weeks, Kalisha. You have done a remarkable job. And but so many people are like holding back, and they just need to clear the air, make sure they got some flat mirrored people in their lives, right? And that could be the very thing that will open the door to move you forward, to say, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to invest in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for saying that, because that is the key, the investment. Where we are right now, you can't really comprehend where you'll really be if you're not able to make that investment and be accountable. I always say that investment is your insurance card to your success. It's in that time that you're able to stretch yourself, to see yourself in a different light. This is what this is all about. Be your best version. And how do we know what our best version is if we're not willing? Because we're able to do it. We are all able to do it. But are we willing to take that step, make that investment? Buy Judy's book. Get her on her website. It's right here, www.judycounselor.com. Make that stretch. Do it today. Don't put your dreams off another day. Don't tell yourself, I'm going to wait till tomorrow. Do it today, tonight. You still have hours left. We all have the same 24 hours. It's how we spend those 24 hours is what matters. It makes a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kalisha.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, Judy. That was so impactful. Love the balloon. Love almost bursting, because we've all been there, and then being able to really release and get some air. Thank you for sharing that insight. We appreciate you, Judy. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Wow, this was so impactful. I absolutely am just astounded at all the information she gave, and really great insight about what we go through on a day-to-day basis. Being able to breathe is everything. It's when we suppress all of those emotions, suppress all of the things that we were told to believe, and try to walk out there alone, do it alone, and trip, fall on our faces, and look around and not really see much success. But when we are able to connect with our accountability partners, connect with thought leaders like Judy Herman, right? Being able to sit down and gain that awareness of where I am right now in this moment, that's when you're able to take that step forward. That's when you're able to breathe, take in that air. So I am super excited for tonight. I know that you've already experienced so much transformation, but get ready for more. We have coming to the stage, Jawanda Rowland Fowles. She is so amazing. She is such a transformational excellence right here, a woman of excellence. And why do I say that? Because that is her walk. If you're wondering, how do I walk in excellence? I don't want to just walk forward, but I want to walk forward in a stride that is honorable, is respectful, is respected as well, right? Someone who I'm proud of, someone who I can love and look in the mirror and say, I love you completely without unapologetically. This is this woman right here, right now, because this is who she is. So I could talk about her all night long. I want to introduce you to her before I go on and on and on, but she really is incredible. So everyone, Dr. Jawanda Rollins Fowles is the CEO of Spirit of Excellence, LLC, a wife, mother, ministry, motivational speaker, TV talk show host, writer, and executive producer. Dr. Rollins Fowles created the Spirit of Excellence Opportunity Campus as a place to foster achievable dreams and centralize her life work in legacy building with a focus on personal and professional development, consultation, education, mentoring, and media outreach. Jawanda is on fire about helping people discover their passion, purpose, and the power of their gifts is a primary focus for her personal and professional development work. She uses her leadership skills and past experiences and doctoral degree to identify where her clients are and help them to chart their path where they want to be. And where they want to be is a telescope mile wide from where they're going with her. She will quantum leap your lifestyle. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here because she's got a lot to tell you, but connect with Jawanda because she's the one who can take you there. All right, Jawanda, here we go. We're so excited to have you on.
Thank you, Kalisha. I just want to start by saying thank you so much for inviting me. You all, Kalisha's heart is so beautiful. And when she said that she wanted to do a boot camp talking about being the best version of you, of course, I had to raise my hand and say, yes, thank you for the invite, and I would love to be here. So I am Dr. Jawanda Rollins Fells, and tonight is the last night of this challenge. And I'm going to piggyback off of what Judy just said. She said something that was very profound, and that was that there may be some of you who have been watching this boot camp. You have been participating. You've had your pen, and look, I've been taking my notes as well. Be the Best Version Bootcamp, Barry Overton, Pamela Henkel, Stephen Champion. I've been taking my notes. I've been doing the activities. But some of you are thinking, you know what? I don't know if I can do it. And you're holding back. Well, guess what? I'm about to shake up your whole orange juice. You know, when you open the refrigerator and you kind of stand there and you look around, then you see the orange juice carton or jug or however you purchase your orange juice. Well, if you look really close, it'll say, shake well for best results. So on tonight, as we close out the Be the Best Version of You bootcamp, I promise to shake up your orange juice, and it is going to be phenomenal. So before we get to shaking, I want everybody to heart it up, like it up, put your hands together. I want you to put your hands together for Kalisha, but more importantly, I want you to put your hands together for you. That's right, for you. You know why? Because you've shown up, and you showed up powerfully. You showed up with your pen and paper and an open mind and a willing heart to learn something, some nugget of wisdom that you wanted to deposit in your pocket for later or put in your heart for right now. Whatever it is, I want you to clap it up for you. And while you're clapping it up for you, I'm going to clap it up for me. And I start my presentations like this because there was a time where my self-image was so damaged, so tainted. As Judy said just now, so the air around it was so toxic that I didn't feel worthy of clapping my hands for myself or receiving any type of accolade or word of positive affirmations from anyone else. Now, that's an ugly truth, but that is the reality of where I was. I wasn't able to do that because I found myself in a stuck place. And in that stuck place, I was a master builder of what Lucy Shaw calls heart walls. See, I felt justified in, I have to put this heart wall here and I have to block that there, and people see me this way and now I'm seeing myself this way, and you know, I don't want anybody in and I don't want to go out, and so I'm just going to mastermind building this wall. And the problem with that is that I was feeding myself negative thoughts in my self-talk, but plastering on a beautiful smile, a cool and confident demeanor. And for a while, nobody really knew the trauma that I was experiencing on the inside. I would tell myself that I was so broken that there were no recognizable pieces left of me. And that's what I fed myself. And I became this master screenwriter, director, and producer of this replay movie that would go over and over and over again in my mindset. Until one day, riding in the back of my truck was my daughter, and I reached back and her little foot just reached the end of my hand. And literally, she kicked me out of an autopilot place. That little jolt was enough that I recognized that I was stuck, that I recognized this master wall that I had built around my self-image and around my heart and myself. I recognized that I was in autopilot. And I recognized that it wasn't so much the opinion and the view that everybody else had of me that was broken. It was the image that I had of myself that needed to be adjusted. I am so glad to say that today, that stuck is not my story, and that change is possible. And I'm so convinced about it that I actually wrote a book about it. It dropped last weekend. It is now a #1 Amazon bestseller. And so if you want to read more about that, go check out the book. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to glorify my hurt place. I'm going to say it to acknowledge it. But I spend the rest of my chapter in that book talking about what I'm going to share with you today. And that is, how do you disrupt the legacy trauma that happens when your self-image is not in alignment with your God design? If that's all right with you, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and get your pen out. And on your paper, I want you to write the letter R-E-A-L. That's right, the letters R-E-A-L. It spells the word real. See, Kalisha knows that one thing about my presentation style is that I'm going to give you some real talk. I use real talk to disrupt legacy trauma because it is the strategy that I used to free my mind. Freeing my mind then liberated my behavior and the results that I got. So I'm going to have a real talk with you, and this is how we're going to shake up your orange juice. All right. So first, in interrupting legacy trauma, I had to reframe reality. Beside the letter R, I want you to put reframe reality. Now, when I say reframe reality, I'm not talking about, denying certain things, but I am saying that you have to call the ugly truth out. Come here, ugly truth. Ugly truth. What is it about this that is a teachable moment for me? What do I need to glean from you, ugly truth? And once I glean that from you and I apply whatever principle it is or whatever correction that I'm learning from that ugly truth, then I can dismiss ugly truth, and ugly truth can go somewhere over there because it does not belong inside of me. I got tickled when I heard Judy present because I was like, yes, Judy, you dismiss that thing after it doesn't serve you. It served a purpose. Now that you've informed me, you don't serve my purpose anymore. And so I sit you right on over there. See, reframing reality is recognizing the ugly truth for what it is, but having that moment to flip it and then turn it into a positive. I am so happy and thankful now that I am grateful now that, yeah, ugly truth, you gave me this, but now that I'm aware, I am happy, grateful, thankful now that, and reframe the reality. I pressed stop on that video that was playing in my mind over and over again, because the reality is that was not serving me. I was rehearsing and practicing an image of me that was in essence passing on my brokenness. And how many of you know, especially after listening to all of the speakers over the last 2 weeks, that what you think is what you become? So reframing your reality is very important because it addresses that thinking part. Now, let's move on to the letter E. The letter E stands for empower vision. So now that you've reframed that reality, you have to empower your vision. And with empowering vision, there are two principles that I want to share with you. This is what I swear by. This is what I live by. This is my pulse check right here. I'm going to share my secret sauce with you. This is my pulse check that I use as my measuring stick to see what my vision is looking like. There are two words that empower your vision. How do you know your vision needs to be adjusted? If you're talking about failure and mediocrity. See, for me, failure is not an option and neither is mediocrity, because I know that I am made in the likeness and image of greatness. I know that God didn't make junk, and therefore the negative things that maybe I once thought associated with me, I know that they don't belong to me anymore. And when I begin to say things like, well, at least I, ... that lets me know mediocrity is creeping in. When I start putting my big goal and my big dream to the slow lane because, well, maybe I should have a plan B just in case I need to wiggle my way out. Do you see what's happening? No. We are not made to move backwards. We are made to move forward. Our energy is designed to move forward. So when I'm looking at my vision, if I recognize that I'm playing with failure or I'm playing with mediocrity, I know I need to adjust these lenses right here. I need to empower my vision. I want you to know that today, if you are going to if you're going to disrupt legacy trauma, you have to reframe your reality and you have to empower your vision. Empowering your vision means that you're going to have to feed what you read to be empowering. It means, much like Kalisha said, sometimes that means you're going to have to turn that TV off, okay? I have a TV, I do TV shows, but I can tell you, I spend the bulk of my time with things that are going to sharpen my sword. Sharpen my sword. Use this nugget of wisdom, empowering your vision, to evaluate what are you feeding yourself and what excuses do you have on cue that you're ready to press play on at any point in time. Again, it will tell you that your vision needs to be empowered. The A is activating faith. To disrupt legacy trauma, you have to reframe your reality, empower your vision, and activate your faith. Now, when I say activate your faith, I'm talking about dismissing thoughts of being fated. 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 Well, nobody in my family ever. I don't know. Why do I think I can do it now? I don't have this. It's never gonna change. Absolutely not. We cannot think from a fated standpoint. We have to think from a standpoint that you are well equipped, you are well able. As a matter of fact, you already have everything that you need. It's already been deposited on the inside of you. You just need to be aware of it and you need to speak it. You need to get your pen and write down your C-type goal. You need to write down what your passion and your purpose is. You need to write down that thing that says, if money wasn't an issue, if time wasn't an issue, if resources weren't an issue, if the right connections weren't an issue, if you take all the excuses that you would normally have and sit them over there in the corner with those ugly truths that are not serving you anymore, then you get your pen and you write down what your heart's desire is. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Write it down. Speak to the vision. say this. Like I said, I am so happy and thankful. I am so grateful now that you start talking to that goal. And guess what? That vision going to start talking right back to you. You're going to start seeing that the people that you need are going to be showing up. You're going to see that the resources that you need start manifesting itself. I am a woman of faith. So I will tell you a little bit about what I say to myself when I'm activating my faith. I say things like, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. I am the head and not the tail. My pastor at my church, he says, you know what? When you fall down, God will put you back in line, not at the back of the line. See, for me, that eliminates all my excuses. I hold my Bible because I'm a woman of faith, and I say, you know what? I am what this book says that I am. I can do the things that this book says that I can do. I'm a believer, not a doubter. That's what I say. And when you wake up and you have that kind of energy and you speak these things out of your mouth, you start to become what you see yourself as. That's what activated faith looks like. You put that activated faith with that empowered vision that says failure is not an option and mediocrity is not an option. I'm telling you, it supports that reframed reality because it forces you to frame that thing a little bit different. And that gets you to the letter L. Why? So what? Who cares? If you're that type of person that's like, okay, but what's the bottom line? Okay, why? Why should I show up to be the best version of myself? Why am I here in this boot camp? Why am I setting myself in a teachable position to the people that have come for the last 2 weeks? Because at the end of the day, while it is about you, it's not really about you. Let me say that again. While it is about you, it's not really about you. Okay? You can write that down. Why do I say that? Because I'm going to go back to my notes. The speakers this week said things like, all of us have a purpose and are here with a purpose and designed by purpose. Things like you have to become victorious. You have to make a pact with yourself that you're going to overcome the terror barrier. You have to accept someone else's belief about you until you're able to adopt it for yourself. Okay, but why? So what? Because every single day you are living your legacy. Think about that. Oftentimes we talk about legacy in terms of, okay, when I pass away, this is what I'm leaving. Well, I'm going to challenge your thinking on tonight as we wrap up this boot camp to say, reframe that. I don't want you to worry about the legacy so much that you're leaving in terms of stuff and money and property and totes of things and heirlooms and picture books. Nothing wrong with that. But I want to challenge you to say that legacy is not what you leave for people. It's what you leave in people. And when you live your life on purpose and you ask yourself, so what, why I got to do this? It's because it's for your legacy. It is for your legacy that you're living right now and the legacy that you're depositing in others. So as a good educator, I want to put a pin right there, but I'm going to recap and you're going to go back through your notes. I'm going to go through my notes and let's see what has happened to challenge tonight the emotion of this is good, but I'm playing double dutch with this thing. You can't stand there and double dutch. You got to jump right in. Do it afraid. That's what the other speakers were saying as well. So on tonight, we're shaking up your orange juice because we have to disrupt the legacy trauma. We're going to disrupt the legacy trauma by keeping it real. We've had a real talk tonight. In our real talk, you have reframed your reality, empowered vision, activating your faith, and liberating your legacy. That is the start to becoming the best version of you. Now you may be saying, well, wait a minute. You started this presentation talking about give yourself a round of applause and how you weren't able to do that for yourself and you were in this stuck, broken place. And so, so what's the end of the story? What's the current state now? Well, I can tell you that I have engaged with Thinking into Results. My coach is Alpa Pandia. I feed my mind with the teachings of Bob Proctor. I can tell you that one of the things that I love about Kalisha and what I love about all of the speakers that have come is we all feed ourselves from that same table of empowerment. It's so good. It's good. And when I sat down and my coach challenged me, what is that big, hairy, audacious goal? I had the nerve to say that I wanted to launch my TV shows and I wanted to expand into an international audience. I wanted to bring all of the different service things that my hands touch into one central location. And today, I can tell you that I am the CEO of Spirit of Excellence, where it is what it is. Our motto here is that we don't compete, we create. Why? Because legacy is important and we know that. I also have a full production studio where I am the TV host of Real Talk with Dr. Rollins Spells, Spirit of Excellence TV, and our ministry station, Power of One Ministry TV. In addition to that, this year we launched 4 additional shows. That's right, 4 additional shows, a total of 7. And as if TV wasn't enough in terms of walking into this unencumbered success with this reframed reality, I have a second building that hosts Achievable Dreams Academy. It is brand new, fresh, hot off the press. We don't even have the website up yet, but the building is there. We are slowly servicing. We have we have licensed counselors there. We have academic support. We house our mentoring program, Divas with Promise and Men of Valor there. That's at the Achievable Dreams Academy. We also have the main stage production. Soon we'll have the brand ambassadors. We have, and then myself, my own brand, Dr. Jawanda Rollins Fells, is where I get to travel around the country and train educators in emotional poverty and a framework for understanding poverty. And I also get to do things like this right now, motivational, inspirational speaking. I am so pleased to be here with you tonight to tell you a little bit about my journey from a stuck place to a place of unencumbered success, because I learned how to challenge myself to be the best version of me. I encourage you all, stay connected, follow Kalisha, sign up for her coaching program, take notes, revisit what you've talked about, but more importantly, wake up every day determined to reframe your reality, empower your vision, activate your faith, and liberate your legacy. I am at the end of my time for tonight, but I do want to share something with you. I want to invite you into this journey with me, and I am going to be launching the hashtag Made for This challenge. I'm talking about I'm made for this victory. I'm made for this achievable dream. I'm made for this power up. I am made for this spirit of excellence. I am made, fill in the blank. And what I want you to do is to just get your cell phone. I want you to record no more than 2 minutes of yourself with an encouraging word around the theme, Made for This. I want you to then join the Facebook group, Made for This, hashtag Made for This, and I want you to send me your video in my direct messages. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of your videos, put them together, and I'm going to feature you on Spirit of Excellence TV. That's my gift to you for coming and supporting my friend, Kalisha. I challenge you to be your best. Know that I am a champion for you, and I wish you well.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much, Jawanda. Everyone, you are leaving transformed. Not only that, but your next steps are already there. You are going to be featured on Spirit of Excellence. Why? Because you're going to take the action steps, do the work tonight, and get rewarded here on after. And that's what real success is, being able to look at yourself and just celebrate your wins because you took the time to do the things it takes to achieve greatness, being able to have a spirit of excellence. I want to just read, Jawanda, I want to read all the love in the chat. Wow. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Feeding from empowerment. And you know, Jawanda, it absolutely is about feeding your legacy from what you're taking in right now, the thoughts that you're having right now, not stepping out of line, not looking in the next lane for your greatness, comparing yourself, all these things. We are just so, I guess, we've been taught to do these things all of our lives, and they really just encompass failure, right? When we're trying to go towards success. So you've really taught us everything we need to know to make those quantum leaps. I wrote down some notes myself. I absolutely love everything that you said. God will put you back in line, not back in the back of the line. And that is so important, because a lot of times we feel like if we take that step, we're going to be put in the back of the line. We're going to be
right.
We're going to be lost.
It's where we start playing with that failure, you know, and if you realize that failure is not an option, then it relieves you of the burden of that. And that's one thing, Kalisha, if I can just edify you, that I absolutely love. I have watched you come into the room and be so authentically you in such a beautiful way. And it doesn't mean that you have to put anybody else down to elevate yourself. You don't have to, you know, think about, well, maybe I'm not good enough to be in the circle. I love that your whole vibe is, it is what it is, and it's not what it's not. And I'm Kalisha, and I'm here to empower you, and just come on and be part of it. That is what you embody, my dear. And I absolutely love it.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate that so much, because, you know, it took me a long time to come into that place of just knowingness. I knew that I always knew I didn't want to compete, but I wasn't told that you don't have to. I wasn't told that you can just create. So when you're in the middle point of knowing you don't want to compete, but not knowing what you do need to do, which is create, it puts you in a position of loneliness, shyness, being self-defeating thoughts, right? Because you're thinking that you're on the wrong path. But now I am so happy and grateful now that I can be my true self. I can empower, because that's what it's about. Right. We're not stepping in the room competing against each other. We're here to empower. And guess what? That shines the light even greater in the room that we're in. We are greater because of each other, not just because of ourselves. And I'm not here because I'm stuck. Stuck is not your story. I feel like we all should have a t-shirt that says that.
I can get you one.
I would love it. I will wear it all the time. All the time.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you so much, Jawanda, for coming tonight, sharing so much powerful information, journey, emotion, because it really brought us through a story instead of just just a whole bunch of information. It's through the stories, through the impact that you have, that allows us to be able to say, okay, it's okay for me to rise higher. It's okay for me not to be ashamed of who I am, and really love myself, not in a way that is condescending to anyone else, but in a true, beautiful, genuine way. And I just love that, because that's really what you embody. You see that light personality with who you are, that light everyone, is not plugged into the wall. It's plugged into Jawanda.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming tonight. It was such a plum-pleasing pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much, Jawanda. We'll see you later.
Thank
One
you.
more thing, can you please tell everyone where they can find you at?
So you can visit my website at drrealtalk.com. Dr. Real Talk. You can also join me in my Facebook group, and I have several, but I would like for this audience to go to Dr. Rollins Fell's Real Talk, or you can go to Spirit of Excellence. But more importantly, make sure you go to the Made for This special Facebook group and drop your video so I can feature you on TV.
Woo! That sounds like a plan. And we're so grateful for you offering that great gift to us. Thank you so much. Everyone connect. Go to drrealtalk.com and connect with Jawanda because she's got something special for you. Thank you so much, Jawanda.
Thank you.
Bye. Everyone, that was so amazing. And, you know, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Deidre, you have been phenomenal. She brings the heat, she brings the fire, she brings the realness as well as her great stories and impactful questions. Deidre, what did you think?
Wow, they brought it tonight. I mean, every night has brought it, but we talk about some fire. I loved it. I have so many notes from tonight.
I do as well. I have them all over the place. Notes are just flying off the wall. Judy has brought the heat with her. How to get unstuck from messy relationships. I mean, isn't that the pinnacle of what we're all trying to figure out? How do we get unstuck? How do we really align ourselves with who we want to be with within ourselves and that partner, right? How to be able to transition mentally, because really we have to make a mind shift in order to do it. A lot of times we think about ending relationships, slamming that door, walking away. But does the door really shut? We actually take it with us and we step right into the next relationship with the same thought process. And it just reoccurs until we're really burnt out. And we can visit Judy Herman for all of that great advice because we know that she'll take us on a strong, empowering journey of how to get unstuck. Jawanda, being able to walk in excellence, being able to transition the mindset of being stuck to being unstuck. There's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of different steps that you have not thought of before, because when you are the person who is in the picture, you can't see the frame, right? And you've got to be around someone who can take you there. I'll take you there. She will take you there. And she really will, because she's able to see on a higher level. Not saying that anyone is lower than anyone else. We are all equal, right? But there's people who are able to lift you up and pull you up because they've been there. They know that next step and they can help you to not fall in that pit, but to leap right over it and to walk in excellence, and also letting you know that if you do fall, because we all do, that it doesn't mean that you're any less than when you first started. And it doesn't mean that you can't reach your destiny. You can,
are so right.
You're able, you will reach that next step. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, it will launch you into your entire destiny you've been waiting for your whole entire life. Once you write it down, you get clear on the goal and you get excited, right? You get excited. It's an exciting journey.
It is. It is. This has been just amazing, amazing tonight and every night. And when you talk about falling, we just got to get up one more time than as many times as we fall. So you just got to do it one more time. We got this.
Absolutely. Wow. And it's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times can you get up with enthusiasm, right?
That's right. That's right.
And I want to let everyone know here that if you are that person who's feeling stuck, who's feeling like, how do I get to that next level? I am on my wits end. I am breaking down. I am not in the place that I want to be. I may be living with family. I may be out on my own, nowhere to go, no plan. I don't have a plan. How can I, just like Jawanda talked about, how can I create this C-type goal? How can I connect to this environment that can take me to that next level? I want to open up an opportunity for everyone to connect with all the speakers here by this entire boot camp that went on. Everyone has seen, heard all of the great stories. Now it's time to take action. Mm-hmm. And I have something special for everyone. I am going to invite you on my coaching program. I am rolling out an opportunity to be able to get connected, because see, what happened these last 2 weeks? What happened these last 2 weeks was just incredible. We've got a plethora of knowledge of this information, but see, there's a gap between what we know and what we do. There's a big gap there. And although you've been inspired, you've been motivated, you are on fire, right? You've got to be hungry. That's the next step. And you've got to connect. So I have a coaching program that I am rolling out, and I will encourage you to get connected with me. You can go to my website. It's right here, KalishaWarrell.com, www.KalishaWarrell.com. Connect with me, and we can get you rolling on your journey in a very short amount of time. It's going to take you longer trying to do it by yourself. No matter how many motivational videos you watch, those are great. Those are like taking a shower. You need it every day. But a coach is someone who can connect the dots for you and get you where you want to be. You're not alone, and I can get you there. So connect with me, KalishaWarrell.com, and we'll get you started with the coaching program at destinyforgreatness.com. You can visit that website and learn more about how you can get enrolled in that academy process. Now, I want to thank all of the speakers who have come here this week and shared their heart, shared their experiences, and really here to help everyone listening to get to their next level. So make sure you don't miss out on those opportunities, because I always tell everyone the acronyms for POUR is passing over opportunity repeatedly. Yeah. Think to yourselves, how many opportunities have I passed over just over this past 2 weeks? How many opportunities have I passed over? Because there were a lot of opportunities to connect, but how many of them have you taken? Right. So I want everyone here to be able to connect, get plugged in, start taking action. You have all the tools you need. Don't pick up another book. Don't go to another meeting. There's nothing else you need to get started. Get plugged in, get a coach. If you need help getting there, I can help you. Get plugged into the other speakers as well. Thank you all for being here tonight. It was such an honor. Deidre, I had so much fun these past 2 weeks. What about you?
I did. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. We're so glad to have you guys here. Go out there, do it big, connect, and be your best version of you. Have a great night. Bye.